Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. It is I, Travis Semulin Sowers. We are jumping into a best of three traditional draft for Zendikar Rising. Chat, say hello to YouTube. Pack one, pick one. I think I'm on Squad Commander. We did yesterday enable a full party for Squad Commander, and it was good. But just having, on its face, it's a 4-mana 4/4 spread across two bodies, which is fine. We could take the Vial, and the Vial would be good in specifically Clerics, which I can appreciate. But the Squad Commander would be good in literally any white deck, and I splashed it in a green deck yesterday, and it was good. Like 4-mana 4/4 that could be better? Sounds pretty good to me. So we're going to start out with the Squad Commander. It's also fine in Warriors. Like, there's just a lot of ways we can go. We don't have to play it. All right, here we've got a rare that's not particularly good. I mean, it's a 2/3 flyer for 3, which is fine, but it ain't doing much. It feels weird to pass the Vial and then start thinking about something like the Celebrant. So we've got Bane Veil, which is okay. We've got the Scythe Cat, which goes in green, and I really like green in this format. So I think this one comes down to the Celebrant and look at potentially playing a Cleric deck, or look at the Scythe Cat and look at potentially playing a green deck. You could maybe talk about field research too. And I suppose there's even some argument for the champion if Warriors is open. This is just not great. I'm not going to be white because I have that. I think I'm going to take the Scythe Cat because I favor green. Because the 3-color green decks we've been doing all day have been great. And if I get backed out of it, I get backed out of it. Here we've got Rabid Bite plus Roiling Regrowth. So I think I can get into green nonsense. The question is, do I want to take Rabid Bite and solidify myself nicely in green, or do I want to take the Roiling Regrowth, which is already good with the Scythe Cat? Spoils is fine, but there's plenty of card draw. We can splash whatever card draw we want if I get green stuff going. I don't think I passed the removal spell here. It's close. Well, this sets up so much. I can just take removal spells in whatever color I want. You know what the pick is here, chat? Do you know what the pick is here? Because I do. It is the easiest Reclaim the Waste I've ever seen. So easy. So easy, so happy. So we're passing removal spells here, but we're now set for literally any good card we see, we just take it and play it. Doesn't matter what it is. It just doesn't matter. We just take green cards from here, gobble up all the good stuff, we're good to go. I'm going to take one more Scythe Cat. That's about all that I want. We want to see 2-drops and the 1/1 Death Touchers. I really want a Blood Beckoning for this too. The skeleton is weird. Most of the gold cards don't actually fit in this. I think we're going to take the Gnarlroot here and just firm up the green base. But most of the gold cards are small creatures for 2 mana, right? And sure, the skeleton gets bigger later, but these are actually not worth splashing. What you want to splash when you're doing this are double-colored cards that are really good. So we can just open any rare, anything and play it. But the gold cards usually aren't ones that I want to splash for when we're doing this nonsense. Because this is some nonsense, don't get me wrong. Okay, we're now just fine on green 2-drops to hold the ground. I can take my Blood Beckoning here because I'll probably want it. I'll play one of these too, but if green's open, I'll get one of these. I don't have to worry about it. But I like the Moss Pit Skeleton a lot if I'm green-black, but I don't know what my base is yet. Other than green. So the first pack looks kind of boring as we're exploring this archetype, but it starts to get real interesting in the second pack. Because again, we can just kind of take whatever we want and then determine what the best 2 or 3 colors to pair with green are in the end of it. And we're so deep in green, we don't have to worry about playables. Yeah, this is our smoothing pack. Now, it does somewhat depend on us opening decent cards in the next one or getting past those because we're missing out on a Rabid Bite and we're missing out on that Deadly Alliance, which I would have liked, but I've been happier taking the fixing early if I have some suspicion that I can get into green. And once I took that regrowth, I was just game over, man. Let's do it. Because we'll end up with a couple of random party tags that'll make this playable. Broken Wings I will very happily main deck. I'm usually happy to have a second one. So if black is our main other color and we need a random 4-drop, we can play this. I'm not planning on it, but usually these decks end up with like mostly green, then a second color that you're kind of knee deep in, and then you kind of dipping your toe into others. And this has been my favorite deck to play so far. Although, as we just saw, like you can get out aggroed by some of the party decks. Like we had one of these that was pretty good and ended up 2-1. I don't think it was splashing quite enough, but you can't always get what you want. Yeah, I like Nectar Pot a lot in these decks too. Yeah. I'd very much like to have Bright Blades and Arbor Mages. All right, I told you we'd end up with one of these dudes, and we did. So, cool. All right, now we just take all of the powerful cards from the next two packs and don't really think too much about what color they are. For example, here, there's a Maul of the Skycleaves. So we're going to take that, and we're just going to put it in the deck. It'll be fine. This is indicative of us wanting to make white a secondary color, but bear in mind, like, I remember early in the format, people were like, can you splash this because it's double white? And I was like, I don't know if I splash a double white card, but all of our fixing gets us 2 planes. Why not? All right, here we've got Nahiri's Binding versus Deadly Alliance. The double white to equip them all is not a problem because, like, if we've cast Rolling Regrowth or Reclaim the Waste, we're going to have it. Yeah, Miso, stick around if you can after the YouTube draft. I'll do your deck review. I can't do it right this second. I think I like the instant speed on this better. You don't need to splash with that. I mean, you can for a little splash. But I think I'd rather have Alliance here. Just the instant speed seems better to me. I have splashed with Blight and Wildfires before, but it was for like a single pip card. Whereas here, I don't mind splashing. Like, let's say we get past a Leyline Tyrant. It's going in. This is a pretty good pack for us. So Kicker could get me back Beckoning, Gnarlrid Colony. I mean, it could potentially do more, but I think this pig may actually be something I'm interested in. Like, it's clearing out more lands for the landfall guys. It's large and in charge. And with Deadly Alliance, I feel like we're okay on removal, and I don't have to take the Feed the Swarm. So we're just on green-white, splash of Blood Beckoning, and a Deadly Alliance currently. But even that's not super crazy. Well, there's another Beckoning. That feels kind of bad. Practice Tactics is not going to be good here. We've got too many cats. Yeah, this pack's kind of a dump. Kind of a big dump. I don't want any of these cards. The one I'm most likely to play is this Disruption. All right, now we're talking. So we've got a Root Grazer, which is already going to be good with these Scythe Cats. A Rabid Bite, which would be nice. I think I want the Root Grazer more than the Rabid Bite, which is weird to be passing all of it, but green's very open. I would probably play one more Reclaim the Waste, but I just don't need it yet. You want what I've been wanting is 3 of the effect, but 2 works. 2 works just fine. So since we are base white, I think I'm okay taking a Celebrant here and kind of using this to buy a little time and block. So the thing with the Root Grazer is it's very nice with these. Oh, I wish these had been in separate packs because I want both of them. But I'm going to take the recovery. I'll probably see another one of these. We're okay on removal, old man, and I can literally take any removal spell we see in the next pack. All of them. It doesn't matter what they are. They don't need to be green. I don't think I want to splash for ramp. That doesn't seem like it makes much sense. This guy's an okay 5-drop, and I don't have any yet, so we may consider that. All right, we've got Nectar Pot, which would be our last 2-drop. I'm pretty fine with that. So there's plenty of life gain going on here. I don't need the Disenchant that much. I'd probably rather play this. We'll see, because we've got the Broken Wings already. And we could take the Spellcraft and splash it too, but I think we're going to be okay on the removal spells. Survivor came back, but I don't really need him. I think I'm going to take the Fortification just so we have a spell land at least. Yeah, we don't need any of this. Like a sideboarded Disenchant wouldn't be bad. All right, here we've got Thwart the Grave and not much else. Unless we want to get into Crab Theory. And I don't think I want to get into Crab Theory. Like, there's enough stuff here with the Cleric, the Warrior, the Wizard, Cleric. I took the wrong Cleric, didn't I? I meant to take the 1/4. Don't tell anybody about that, because I don't really want to play this one. But I'll get Thwarty. All right, so Acquisitions Expert is pretty good. Vanquish the Weak is pretty good too. I don't think there's any blue cards we really want to play. This is mostly about upgrading our creature base from here. And currently I don't need 2 reclaims. So I think I'll just take a solid removal spell here and move along with my life. Like, we're kind of just going full on Abzan, which is fine. I wanted to really go nuts with the mana, but we just haven't had the opportunity to do that yet. What's going to provide more value, a Lotus Cobra or a Sproutling? Because the Sproutling can get back these, so it's a situational divination. Whereas the Lotus Cobra is kind of another 2-drop that I don't really need. Yeah, winning the draft is gems too. I think I could still see playing this, because it could allow us to turn 4 one of these. Man, I've got too much early game now. Wah. I could totally splash that, but I don't need to. We'll just grab us a Baloth. I'm not quite sure why that's still there, but okay. It's sort of fixing in ramp, but it's in the package of a 2/1, which is not bad. It's just like, it's gonna die. It's gonna die. This is coming together nicely, though. So many reclaims, I just don't need them. I think I take the Shepherd here and probably don't play the Dreadworm. Although I still might. The Disciple's pretty reasonable too, and we don't have any Nombos with it, and it's really fun to Thwart the Grave it back. But I do think I want the Flyer here. Yeah, and we're kind of out of stuff here. There's nothing wrong with the Sentinel. I'm not going to play it, though. We might side it in. Man, we just got so many late 2-drops. I'm not used to that. It's looking like the party theme is probably going to be pretty dead here. Look at all these 2-drops. Do I just want to field research? No, I shouldn't need that. I've got like 3 divinations. And the way we're going now, I only need 1 reclaim. So I'll take this, and we'll have a really flexible sideboard. Look at all these reclaims. It's crazy. What's up, Snow Crash? So if you have all of the copies of the card in a set, when you draft one that you already have, it will refund you with gems at the end. So it's not a lot of gems, but it's some gems. And the first thing I do whenever I start a new format is just craft the set. So as soon as this finishes, you'll see it pop up with gems. It's something like, I don't know, 7 cents worth of gems. It's not a lot, but it adds up over time. So I kind of got Abzan stuff with not quite enough 3-drops. But given that I have a ramp card here and a ramp card here, I'm pretty happy ramping into 4s. Not that this one's lovely to ramp into, but it's still fine. The question is what mix of 2-drops do we want? Because I've got a lot of cuts to make here. I don't think I need to reclaim the wastes, because we're not splashing anything double or anything that's particularly difficult to splash. We've got these 2 lands, and I can potentially pick them up later. I like this mix of cards. I've got too many 2s. This guy's technically could be a land too, although that doesn't happen very often. We've got a lot of rampy stuff, so I like keeping this area secure. It may be that the Brute just isn't doing enough, because we're kind of hoping that we can just skip turn 3. The Nectar Pot's super, or the Nectar Pot, the Gnarlroot Colony is super flexible, so I think if this is my 2, I'm happy. And this would leave us 1 more cut. I need to cut a creature. Heck, maybe I just do this. Like, this is still 5 early plays. That's plenty. Technically 6. And the mana base is going to be just fine for this. Like, pretty easily fine. I'm happy with 17 lands. Because, like, this counts as 1. I ended up wanting to play less lands than I thought in this format. Absent Dumpster get in, yeah. 2 Gnarlrids and no Dreadworm, or 1 Gnarlrid and 1 Dreadworm. Why? Oh yeah, okay, yeah, fair. I think I like the mix, and I do want to keep the Dreadworm. It can be a real threat, especially when you've got the ability to give it instant speed indestructible, which this deck, I mean, it's not going to do often, but it could do. And this guy could even be ramped for us if we happen to have a Root Grazer. All right, let's build us some mana base. So I know I want to try to get 9 green in here. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And where does that leave me for the others? 4 and 4? That kind of seems fine. Because, like, I don't need double of any of them until very late. And, like, this will help me get a second planes to equip this. I would like to have the ability to turn 2 this, but I could still technically turn 3 it with the Cobra. So I think this is actually just fine. This weird planes. I want to play with it. And of course we've got the hand swamp. This thing is just too cool not to play. All right, we'll flex a little with the slaves. This looks good to me as far as green nonsense decks go. And playing 14 lands. Neat. The green nonsense decks have been pretty good for me. We just found out about it, I think, at the beginning of this week. Yeah, because I was kind of thinking about it over the weekend. Gem Printer is now going chemo because we have found what you should be drafting if it's open. I think that green splashing a lot of other colors is probably the best thing you can do. Enough people are onto it that you don't really see double colored good cards later, but it's still quite good. I wish I'd figured it out a day or two early, but meh, it's real good. I can play with my Gruul Jazz Elemental rather than staring at that screen. Look at him flex and pose. All right, let's party. I'd really like to use this to get 2 lands instead of one. So we'll see if we draw one next turn. If I don't, I probably need to go ahead and get a black source with this. And since we're really not splashing that heavily, I don't mind using it to get a single black. The only thing we can't cast in the deck is the Thwart the Grave, and we wouldn't be casting that anytime soon anyway. Dot matrix. I don't know what that means. What does this mean? I think I want to go Baloth here. There's a possibility they bounce one of these two, which is fine, and then we Deadly Alliance this, which is fine. Oh, so that's like the printers I grew up with. I do remember those. I grew up with an Apple IIe. Well, now I don't mind Deadly Alliancing it. Like they probably got an ACOG there, so here, take 10. I can only make one play here. This is a pretty good one, but if I play this into a land, I'll be even happier about it. And it makes this a decent play next turn. It's mighty bold. Okay, okay. They're stable. With them at 1, I think the squad commander makes the most sense because we get 2 more lethal attackers. Man, they're repping that Royal Mage's shenanigans pretty hard here. Nope, don't have it. Okay. Well, that's good news. That's real good news. So what happens if a swing team, they trade these or these, eat these 2 tokens? So the tokens is not the way to go. I think the Scythe Cat, pump the Scythe Cat is probably the way to go. I'm a little nervous that they got another bubble tea, but they're going to have a bubble tea anyway. And I don't really need bigger creatures here. We just need to go wide enough that they can't stop me. This also gives our Scythe Cat trample, which is kind of a big deal. That's the joke, yeah. So I think the only thing they'd get me with here is like a Bane Veil. This gives them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blockers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, okay, good game. I was worried a little bit about a Bane Veil, but doesn't matter. So you got a roost of drakes over there, huh? Zendikar's probably a little better than average, and so is the Sentinel. Vanquish the Weak is pretty spicy too. I want to keep that. On the draw, I don't think I want the Dreadworm. I just want more things that can block flyers currently. I don't think I want the Baloth either, which is going to look crazy because it did so much damage for us there, but I just don't want it. We'll do the Stream Raiders battle after this finishes. I'd fire it off during sideboarding, but I want to make sure my focus is here since we're doing the YouTube draft. I try to be a little more focused on these, although I don't always manage to do it. Gruul, Jazz, Elemental. Jazz branches. It's fine. That's a good draw. In some other world. They appear to have some spare supplies. Could use another land, yo. I'm going to see if we got a coward on our hands, because we might. No, we don't. I guess you don't put a card like that in your deck unless you're planning to block with it. That would have been a really good turn to have Vanquish up. Interesting. They must have some really strong stuff over there to want to trade 2 for 4. It's a little scary. Big Club has done his job. If he gets hunted rabbit bitten here, I think we'll be all right. So, okay. Sure. Again, with some interesting lines here. I'm really not sure why they're trying to bait me into a race, but I'll take it. Yeah, Bubbling Enchanted Lands is real good. I like it too. Or maybe they figured the aesthetic would keep them safe. I don't see a strong need to do anything here. I want to trade off things if we get to a thwart the grave scenario, but I've got better blocks. Like, presumably they're going to kill this, and then I can block with this guy. Man, I didn't think they had 2, or I'd have definitely held up that Vanquish the week. I wouldn't be playing 2, but I wouldn't be playing 1. So there you go. So if that's dead, what do their blocks look like? Mainly just forcing them to trade with one of these, which I'm very okay with. Yes, Zendikar has reach. Remember. I have not remembered before, but I do remember now. There have been no rabbits to bite anyone. We could have put them to one there. It is true. Man, they all about scaling some heights. I think I'm pretty interested in swinging with the team here because I don't see how this goes bad for us. The block I want them to make is this here and then maybe trade this off or something. They may not do it, but it looks like a good block right now, doesn't it? But trample will sometimes get you. Yeah, they had blocks where they didn't die. I don't think they noticed the trample on the insect. All right, let's do our Stream Raiders battle. It's a boss fight. Y'all been waiting. Thank you for your patience. Looks like we got a full room of 160 allies against this boss. We are going to have some trouble getting funneled through them gates. There's a bunch of rogues with nowhere to go. But the floodgates will open up here in a minute. Now we're through. And that war beast is huge. Okay, we kind of demolished this one. We kind of demolished this one. This is your boss. Not impressed. Not impressed with your Eldritch Horror. It's a decent amount of area damage, but nah, not impressive. Me with the most kills. David with the assists. A boss chest for ye all. Scrolls for Stein came on and with it. And we go on to the next level of magma. Now, I never fought any of the magma stuff, so this will be cool. I'll take the top line so we can get the blue chest. And I'll do the upgrades later since we're doing our YouTube draft. I don't know what to do to fight magma, so I'm just going to assume that I need to tank stuff. I like this deck, though. Seems good. Nice. So you will have your full loyalty by the time we get to that blue chest. Winning is fun. I'm a huge fan of winning. I would always pick winning over not winning. Meh. Need to draw a land. I can draw a land. There's one right there. Narrator, there wasn't. Never mind. All right, so I am going to need one after this. Pretty badly, because that relic will kill my kittens. So one land and we're good to go. If we whiff on the land this time, we're actually in a lot of danger. That is not a land. Whew. Well, good games. We'll see you for the next one. YouTube, thank you for tuning in. I have very little choice but to trade these off when they're sitting on the wizards. Okay, I suppose the good news now is maybe they can use that to clear this one. And our blood beckoning will do something later. This is awkward. This is really, can you tell? This is so awkward. It's very awkward. Oh, kill it, kill it, kill it. There we go. Oh, that doesn't work. They have to target it with a spell. It's not ability. No. Come on, Meow. This amulet be working me. And the not drawing lands part. Huge fan of drawing lands. I would always choose to draw lands. Yeah, I think any of the tribal decks, if you get the uncommon payoffs, are good. The reason I tend to like clerics better is because you can build the deck with commons, and you don't really need much else. Like as soon as you get the Blight Priest and the Core Celebrant, you're basically good to go with just two of those, and you can make a deck that's at least functional. That one, not so much, but the Relic worked us. Part of why it worked us is just we miss land. Like, it's easy to beat a potato, right? I don't really have great ways to stop that or really interact with it at all. My X1s are going to be pretty bad unless they're actively good for the deck. So, like, I kind of just want to take this out and play a forest. Because well, no, I can't build my whole deck around them always having Relic Amulet. That's just not reasonable. And if I'm on the play, I shouldn't have to worry about it quite as much. But on the draw, I probably need to take out some number of Scythe Cats and just play Brutes. Which I can do. I'd bring in another Disenchant if I had one, but the good news is we do have a Broken Wings in the deck, so like we could get the amulet. But there's times I've found that I just want a lot more Broken Wings disenchants than I have access to. All right, we're gonna try this again, but we've got the same situation of we need to draw lands. I think I'm gonna run this out because there's not really any expectation that I'm gonna ramp higher because I'd need two lands in a row to do it. And there's no guarantee, like, what are the odds they're going to turn to the Relic Amulet? You know, realistically, they're probably not going to hit that again. I'd say that's pretty unlikely. Dang it, Bobby. I needed that. This is not a great feeling. It's a really good choice by them to kill this instead. Because they know I'm missing a mana. This can at least block something, but I still think we're in just very serious trouble. Well, I would again argue that missing the land is hurting us far more here, and that's not really up to the amulet. All right, so I've got 5 mana. Maybe we just make a Dreadworm here. Because this is the only turn we're going to get to use this dude. I'd pretty happily block with it. It's done its job. Oh, good God. That's so brutal. My whole deck is X1s. They could have Jawari Disruption, so we'll try to play around that for a round. I guess not Jawari Disruption. That's only for spells, isn't it? Look at this. This is absurd. Holy carp, I'm just dead. Dag nabbit. And now the lands show up. A day late and a dollar short. GG's. So some of that is Relic Amulet is very powerful. The other part is like, we didn't draw lands. But our deck is particularly weak to it. I still don't think those were moles. Well, I mean, obviously, looking back, if I'd known exactly how we were going to draw it out, I would mulligan. What I mean is, with the knowledge that I had at the time, I don't think there's much justification for mulliganing either of those hands. All right, again, I'm going to see if we can draw some lands before I've... that's not really reasonable on the play. I just need to turn this into a swamp, because I've got access to too many things if I'm just a grown-up and go get a swamp. A lot of wind robin you looking at doing there. They always mill lands, don't they, when you need them. We're doing our YouTube draft for the day, Possum, so I don't have the music or the sounds turned up real loud for that. I think given that I don't have anything else to do, well, I can squad commander here. That's not bad. How close are they to getting me? One more hit doesn't get me. They are kind of taking the wind right out of my sails. Okay, now this hit gets me. So they're able to cycle these. That just means I can't vanquish them. I'm a little worried about an ACOG here, but I can't really do much about it. My one weakness, the Relic Amulet. You reckon they're legitimately trying to mill me out with these? Is it starting to look like they might be? They're not killing me with damage. This puts more power on the board. It's likely, and they're only on 4 mana, so most of what they play on 4 mana I could kill with a Vanquish the Weak and then get in 5 damage. I don't care about taking 2 more damage and 2 more mills from these. I may care if they've got like some turbo mill card going on or something. Like I don't need it to block. I'd rather just put more power on the board. Like they're probably getting close to stuck to block 2 things and sack these. What? I don't think that's what they meant to do. I don't think I would have taken that play. So why would we not swing team here? I can't think of a reason. Yeah, they seem to be missing a few things here, which is, I mean, something that can happen. But like they could have had 2 cards off of these. Like they were active. That leaves them dead. I don't know that the 2 cards would have made a difference, but if you have the opportunity to draw 2 cards or the opportunity to not draw 2 cards, you should probably draw the 2 cards. So we got another Relic Amulet deck. Could see an argument for the Zendikar. It's hasty surprise damage or something that can block a flyer. So it may actually be better than a Baloth here on the draw because I'm like it's a 5-drop that blocks better. It's tough. I'm a little nervous again about the X ones, and on the draw, like maybe that's a consideration. But I don't think I care. All right. I should be able to draw some lands. I like drawing lands. If you only have one, you mean one card in your library, I presume. Because yeah, don't do it then. But you're probably in trouble then anyway, eh? I think they just like 1/1s. Well, generally speaking, unless they mill me out, them hitting me with mill cards is helpful. Because I've got 2 cards that interact with my graveyard. So unless they mill specifically those 2 cards, they're just building me up a stockpile. Which I've argued for a while, like milling your opponent doesn't do anything unless you're planning to mill them out or you're enabling some other cards in your deck. Yeah, I play it first. Let's gain the extra life. Because I think they're trying to kill me with damage rather than milling me out. So like I'm mostly expecting them to have a tap your dude spell here, and then we can probably get the Zendikar going. But it's some removal spell. It's not like I'm able to block it. All right, well, that's looking pretty weak. They get me here if they've got a combat trick. I don't think I'm too worried about that. I wonder if we've got enough planes left to actually move this darn thing. We do. There's 2 still left in there. This gives the land haste, right? Yeah, so I don't have to worry about which land it put it on, other than it should probably be on a green land. Hiya! That should be game. Sort of like a wizard's trap, which they don't have. There's nothing that can kill this dude, and it with flying and trample is just lethal. Unless you want to play around lightning bolt. There you go. Yeah, so the relic amulet is good if you have enough wizards to go with it. And like our opponent, the second round opponent is playing an amulet and a bunch of pag beasts I couldn't beat. But a big part of why I couldn't beat them is because I didn't hit the lands. Like that kind of is what it is. Alrighty, YouTube, I appreciate you guys and gals tuning in. We will be back with you with another draft probably tomorrow because I think you'll be seeing this on Monday. So thank you for watching on YouTube. If you would like to see the action live, you can come to www.twitch.tv/Semulin. We're up to 56k gems. So the gem printer is indeed going burr again, and I think these green decks are a big part of it. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time, YouTube.